Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear learners. Welcome to English Grade 11 and a very warm welcome to the Chase Academy. I'm your instructor, Zia Hamid. Students, I hope that you are doing well. Let us start our lecture for today. Dear learners, we are talking about the competency of writing. Previously, we had done the oral communication lecture, and I hope that you have done your tasks and you had practiced it as much as you can. This is our lecture number 8, and for this one, we are going to focus and achieve these 3 learning outcomes of the writing competencies. First one, it says write narratives to develop real or imagined experiences or events using effective techniques, well-chosen details, and well-structured event sequences. Students, we are very much familiar of this SLO. We have done it over and again, and every time we learn something new. Now, students, here the action word, the main thing is to write. We not only want to understand the theoretical aspect of this, but we rather want to write it. So, write narratives to develop real or imagined experiences. Now, narratives, a story like prose, can be written and it can be based on real life or it can be imagined. It can be both. So, it depends upon the prompt and depends upon your title of the topic on which you are going to write about. Now, we are going to use effective techniques, well-chosen details, and well-structured event sequences. When we are narrating something, the organization, the way of presenting is very much important. So, when we are narrating something, we have to follow a order. We have to follow an order. We have to follow a chronological order to describe that event or that incident in our life. Or it can be fictional, it can be non-fictional. That depends upon the prompt that you have. All right. Then develop and strengthen writing as needed by planning, revising, editing, rewriting, or trying a new approach. Now, students, if you remember, if you recall the process approach of writing, we are very much familiar of the 3 steps process approach of writing, which is opposite of the product approach. We talked about these 3 steps: pre-writing, post drafting, and thirdly, post writing. Yes, post writing. So, whenever we are approaching to write something, whether it's descriptive, persuasive, argumentative, and so on, we need to follow an approach. And in the very first approach, pre-writing, this is what we do before writing. So, exactly to strengthen and to develop our writing, we need to plan. We need to plan on the paper or in our mind. We need to revise, edit, and rewrite before submitting the draft or the manuscript, or trying a new approach focusing on addressing what is most significant for a specific purpose and audience. So, if you are given a task, an essay, an article, any topic, you need to understand who you are writing to. What is your audience? Are they children, adults? Are they old people? Are they from a specific community, specific background, culture, etc.? And you need to follow the purpose. Why you're writing. Are you writing to spread information? Are you writing to persuade or convince them? Or are you writing to give them actually present arguments? So there are different purposes, and we need to see that how we can edit something, how we can revise something, and we will discuss the theoretical aspects. And lastly, what you're supposed to do is paraphrase a poem. We will use our paraphrasing skills to paraphrase a poem. And we know what a paraphrasing is. Paraphrasing is actually using our own words and own language other than the original language of the poem to describe something in a very simple way so that the theme and the central idea is very much intact in our paraphrasing. So we rewrite anything. We actually rephrase. This is what we mean by paraphrasing. So I hope that these 3 things are very much clear, students. Now just think about it. What do you think is a narrative writing? Yes, think about it. If you're in the class, you can have a discussion, have a very fruitful discussion on this topic, and then you can play the video again and follow the lecture. That's very good. Now, students, there are different types of writings, right? So, one of them is narrative. Narrative means we are telling a story, we are narrating something, we are the narrator. So, in a narrative writing, you can narrate an event, you can narrate any kind of incident, any occasion, anything that happened, any experience, or the journey of any character. It can be both, it can be either fictional or non-fictional, that depends. Recall the process approach of writing. We know that before writing anything, we will read the prompt, the topic, or the title. We will brainstorm, number one. Then we will make list. We will organize and make an outline. And after doing all these things, after striving for the ideas and planning everything out, then we will start writing. And when we are writing, we just need to write it. And after writing it, we edit and revise, and that is what is in the post writing step. So this is the whole process approach of writing, which I have been teaching you for the last previous units every time. I hope that now this is clear, that if you want to write something that is very good and strong, you need to follow the process approach of writing. Now this is a poem, The Road Not Taken. Our question in the activity is paraphrases the first two stanzas of the poem, The Road Not Taken. Yes, The Road Not Taken. First, let's read it. Can you describe a situation where a decision had to be made under time constraints? And how did you handle it? Now, maybe that is the choice of the subject, the choice of field, or selecting a place to visit in your holidays. There can be so many different choices and opinions from which you have to choose just one. So, think about that time. This is a very interesting pre-reading activity before we actually read the lesson. Now, students, these are the two stanzas. We need to paraphrase the first two stanzas of the poem, right? So first, let's read and understand the poem. Two roads, yes, two roads diverged in a yellow wood. There are two roads and they're meeting up in a yellow wood. And sorry, I could not travel both. Obviously, due to human constraint, due to limitation, we just have to choose one. And be one traveler. Long I stood. So I need to choose one to travel upon. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could. The poet says that he stopped and looked as far as he could, that which road is better and which one I should take, and then start my journey to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then take the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. All right, we have read these two stanzas carefully. Let's paraphrase them. This is the paraphrased version. The speaker was faced with a difficult decision between the two paths, the two roads. He stood at the crossroads for a long time. What was he doing by then? He was actually deciding and looking as farther as he can to decide which road is better. Trying to decide which path to take, he eventually chose the path that looked less traveled. He said, okay, this is the road A or B. This is the road that people have traveled less. So I will choose this road. Maybe this is something better. So he just wants to be unique. He just wants to have something unique than people. Even though he knew that both paths were probably equally worn out. Somehow, somewhere he knew that both the roads are often frequented by people, but he said, still my instinct is telling me that road A or B is less traveled, so I will choose this road. All right. So this is a paraphrased version of the two stanzas if you look closely. If you read these two stanzas and then read the paraphrased version, you can see that the poetic language is changed. We have chosen our own language. The words are our own. We are still talking about the theme and we are talking about the main message. But the language is changed. So this is what we mean by paraphrasing something. We read something and then we rephrase it. We paraphrase it using our own words, keeping the theme intact and the main message intact. So this is an example of a paraphrased version. Now comes the other SLO, which says, write a personal narrative about a time when you successfully managed to make a decision and solve a problem. Now, is it an imaginary narrative or real narrative? Yes, this is real. We are talking about real narratives, not imagined. So this is non-fiction. All right. So we are going to write about a time when we make a decision and we made a decision and solved a problem. So there can be so many instances. Think about it. Now, here is an example. This is the answer of the question that we have just saw. The day started as usual, but it took a sudden turn when I realized I had lost my wallet. Now, this is a problem, right? Panic or fear set in as I retraced my steps, but to no avail. I felt a wave of frustration and helplessness. Instead of spiraling into despair, I decided to take action. I reported the loss to the authorities, to the police maybe, and cancelled my cards. He cancelled all his credit cards so that they cannot be accessed, right? The next day, I received a call from a kind stranger who had found my wallet. Relief washed over me as I realized that honesty and kindness still existed. This expression taught me that even in difficult situations, proactive steps or taking any action and a positive attitude can lead to unexpected solutions. So what was the speaker's or the writer's decision? He decided to report it rather than just staying at home or being sad about it. He took action. He reported the authorities. He cancelled his ATM, his cards, so that there would be less damage. All right. So this was an example. This is a real narrative, first person narration, first person or point of view is used in the form of I. As you can see over here, these are your first person pronouns. So this is a real time, non-fictional narrative, a personal narrative that we can write about. All right. Now students, let us talk about drafting. While writing the first draft, the first attempt of writing is called the first draft. Edit and revise details to suit the purpose. Now, editing and revising or editing techniques are very much important. These are the steps that we need to follow, so pay attention. What about the content? Look, we need to see, are all parts of the questions answered? Is there any argument? Is there an argument? Do all of the paragraphs support the essay? So we are writing an essay, right? When we are writing an essay, we will see, are all parts of the question answered? The questions that we have raised, the topics that we have raised, are they all answered? Is there an argument? Do all of the paragraphs support the essay? Then let's talk about vocabulary and grammar. In vocabulary and grammar, we are going to see, are parts of speech, tenses, sentence structure, and other features of grammar and vocabulary correct? Have I used the correct sentence? Have I used the correct part of speech, the tenses? So here you will focus on that. Then the overall structure. Is there a clear introduction and conclusion? Is my first part and the last part of the essay, are they clear? Is the paragraph order logical? Have I followed the topic, sentence, supporting details, and conclusion structure? Have I not followed it? And have I followed general to specific method? Are there clear transitions between paragraphs? We are going to see the transitional devices being used in the paragraphs. Are they logical? Are they actually making sense? Then structure within paragraphs. Does each paragraph have a clear topic sentence? This is what we need to see. When we are writing an essay, we are writing multiple paragraphs, right? So every paragraph should have a topic sentence. This is what we need to see. Are there any extra or missing supporting paragraphs in each paragraph? Are there any lines or supporting sentences? Then write them. Clarity. Yes. Are all terms easily defined? If you're defining a terms, have you done it correctly? Is the meaning of the sentence clear? Have you chosen the best words to express your ideas? So all of these things explain our clarity. Then let's talk about the style of writing. Is the tone appropriate? Have I used the correct tone according to the context and the text? Have you varied sentence length throughout the essay? Are there any unnecessary phrases such as due to the fact that? So these kind of repetitive and redundancy should be avoided at any cost. By doing so, you can clearly write a better piece of writing if you follow these instructions. So when you're writing the first draft, what you're supposed to do is edit and revise the details to suit the purpose. Proofreading, yes. Before submitting the essay, we proofread it. Read your essay aloud. Read it aloud. Make a list of errors that you commonly make. For example, spelling mistakes, sentence structure, subject-verb agreement. All right. Then read the text backwards. Sometimes the brain automatically corrects written mistakes. This is a very good technique. Then when we are proofreading, when we are actually going through any text, any essay, proofread for only one type of error at a time. Double check everything. Double check the proper names. Are they capitalized correctly? Double check the punctuation. Are the punctuations used correctly or not? The full stops, the commas, dashes, parentheses, brackets, and all these things should be used correctly. Now, students, as according to the SLO, all these things will follow that we will follow are going to make our essay strong and very full of strength. Now, students, all these resources are available. I hope that now you can actually paraphrase any given stanza of a poem, and you can actually also summarize and also use the different editing techniques and process approach of writing whenever you're writing any piece of literature or any given question. This is all about today's lecture, my dear learners. Thank you so much. Now, till the next lecture, keep on practicing. Write narratives, write your personal narratives as much as you can, and follow the process approach of writing, follow the techniques, follow the editing and proofreading and all those things that we have mentioned. Take care of yourselves, and